Hallo alle zusammen und willkommen zurück zu dem Google für
Hello,
Developers
everyone, and
Account.
welcome back
Heute
to
wollen wir mal
Google
einen
for
genaueren Blick
Developers
auf das
Account.
neue Gemini
Today, we're going to take a
3.5
closer look at the new
Live-Übersetzungsmodell
Gemini
werfen, das jetzt auf der
3.5
Gemini
Live
API
translation
verfügbar
model
ist.
that's now
Los
available
geht's!
via the Gemini API. Let's go!
This was my fantastic German, live translated by the new Gemini 3.5 Live Translate model, which is now available on the Gemini API. And so the application we want to build is a really nifty demo, which uses the Gemini API to live translate for our audience into many different languages. So this is using the Gemini API together with LiveKit and Google Cloud Run to deploy an application that can broadcast speech in many, many different languages using Gemini Live Translate. So, of course, this demo is open source, so you can find it on the Google Gemini GitHub account, and the Live Translate broadcast demo works like this. So here on our broadcasting page, we're basically creating an event ID, which is kind of a LiveKit room. And then we stream our audio, and here we can use our microphone, or we can stream our audio from our browser tab, for example, to the LiveKit room. In the LiveKit room, we then have this translation bridge. So anytime someone requests a certain language, so if we're enabling the microphone here, our session is now live. And so anytime, someone visits our page here and selects a certain language to be used, so for example, here they could be listening in Chinese. So what you can see here is that in our application now, anytime someone requests that certain language, we set up a new live translate session with that requested language. So if we now were to go and, in another tab, and we basically go and now we request French, for example. So you can see now in our application, a new session is being spun up for French. And so now if we were to go again and, there's another listener that is maybe, for example, also wants French, you can now see that we're actually just immediately getting the stream set up. So you can see here, rather than, setting up another session, so this was our previous French session, we're actually now subscribing that listener to that existing session. And so we can see here on our page, we have, one person listening in Chinese and then two listening in French. And so now if I close this tab here, our session will actually be closed. So we can see this here on the server. So this is the correct WebSocket closed event. And now, if these folks drop off as well, so we're kind of getting events from LiveKit. You can see now, obviously, we still have one French listener, so we still want that intact. But then, when the last listener goes, we're also closing that WebSocket. And so this way, with our setup here, which is really neat, we basically make sure that we, at a maximum have one session per requested target language. And then anytime someone joins in, we just subscribe them to that existing broadcast. And so this is a really, really neat demo, and we've actually been using this for presentations. I've been using this myself for, live events. We've been using it for some events where there, were different folks speaking different languages in the audience, and people are just really delighted. They can use their phone, they can scan the QR code, they pop in their headphones, and they can listen in their preferred language. This is really, really cool. Obviously, this is also available on the Google Translate app. But here, this is just a really nifty example to show you how you can integrate it into your own applications. And so the way we can do this, we can see it here. So, the easiest way is you just follow along the README. So basically, you just need to install the dependencies. And so here we're actually using Next.js for our application. And the really cool thing is by deploying Next.js to Google Cloud Run, we can actually have these long-running WebSockets just running on Cloud Run, which is really, really cool. And so we can just follow the instructions here. When we're developing locally, we can actually run LiveKit as a Docker. So LiveKit is really, really cool because it's also open source. You can self-deploy it, but they also provide a really convenient LiveKit cloud-hosted solution. So I would recommend, if you're getting started, the easiest way is actually you just set up a LiveKit cloud account. You can get started for free, and then you put in your LiveKit credentials here. So you'll need your API key, your API secret, and then your WebSocket URL. So that is what your application will use to then negotiate the WebRTC protocol handoff, and then it will use WebRTC to broadcast the audio, as well as it will use the WebRTC data channels to broadcast the captions, which is really cool. Maybe we can use our agent here. So I really enjoy using Antigravity to explore my code bases. And so what is really cool is that with Antigravity, I can actually talk to my code, show me how we are setting up the Gemini Live Translate sessions and then broadcasting them to the LiveKit room. And so here we can use audio. So Gemini has really good audio understanding capabilities as well. And so we can now basically talk to our code base, and it will look up kind of how that is being done. And then we can, see that here. So we can look at, how this is done. Okay, so we have our architecture overview here. We have our translation session manager, so we can click on it, and we can see, kind of the code that is happening in there. So we have, get or create in our translation bridge, whether kind of the translation bridge already exists. And then we have, this here you can see, so we're basically just calling, we're opening a WebSocket connection to the Gemini Live API using audio. We want the output audio transcription, so that's how we can get the transcript of what the model has been saying. And then we have our target language code. So, anytime someone requests a new language that we don't have a stream yet for, we'll open up a new Gemini Live translation. And our audio is just streamed in from our broadcasting page as raw kind of PCM data. And we are then getting the output. So here, we'll get our server content model parts in the published to translated audio. And then also we get the output transcript text, and then we're publishing that data in publish transcript text. So yeah, you can see it here. So our publish transcription text. We'll see if it's interim, so we can see like immediately show it up, and then when it's final, it'll solidify into kind of a full paragraph. We have a transcription event that we're sending with kind of the target language, the segment ID, and we're publishing that data to kind of all the participants that are basically transcribing to that specific language. So this is really neat. It's a really cool setup. Now, in terms of deploying it to Google Cloud Run, so what we can do is we can ask again our trusty Antigravity. So how does the deployment to Google Cloud Run work? So fire that off. And so there's a Docker file that is being used. So we can see here, so we're basically, have a Docker file that kind of defines, our setup. So we'll install our dependencies, then we'll run the build, and then we'll publish the app directory and expose kind of our server here. So you can see we're also using the secret manager. So that's a Google secret manager on Google Cloud Run. So we're pushing up our API keys and our LiveKit key and secret. And then the deployment is literally just running this command. So allow authenticated is we're allowing kind of public access. You can see here that we're, minimum instances. So we allow it if there's no traffic. We allow Google Cloud Run to shut down completely. So in that case, if there's no traffic, we're not getting billed for anything. Also, we have one thing here. So because we're currently managing all the translation details for kind of that one event in memory, we can't actually go beyond kind of one instance at the moment here. So that is a limitation of the demo. There's some details on this in the README as well. So, if you wanted to scale this beyond, we actually would need to take kind of the state and the translation bridge management out of the memory and deploy a database and kind of manage it there. Then we could scale up the instances. But in this example, in the demo, we're only, allowing max one instance. So we're kind of, setting up the CPU and, max concurrent requests so that we're able to, have a lot of subscribers kind of get a token issued for the LiveKit room at the same time. So, obviously there's some scaling limitations to this. So if you go beyond kind of, 10, 15 active languages, you'll potentially hit kind of CPU limits because, each language sets up a long-running WebSocket session. So that is something you have to keep in mind. So in the README, you can find a section that is talking exactly about that. So kind of key design decisions, you can see that here, architecture and scaling. So, this works well for kind of up to 15 to 20 simultaneous languages, 200 to 300 LiveKit Cloud, where you can actually go, I think, beyond that, as long as, you're keeping kind of the simultaneous languages. That is really kind of the limiting factor here. So, if you wanted to scale beyond that, you basically probably would break out all the languages into separate rooms, and then you could kind of scale it up indefinitely. But yeah, for this demo, for smaller events, you'll be very, very good with this.